Okay, guys. So, I have a question for you. I have a really kind of complicated word. Compare. Think about that word in your brain a minute. Have you ever heard that word? Compare.
I have, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay. Does anyone
I remember
What does compare mean, Lucas?
comparing something that you need to compare.
Yeah. So comparing is looking at two or three things and talking about how they're the same or bigger or smaller or heavier or
I just thought
lighter.
about something. Sometimes I think comparing is like if you want to make 6 and you have 3 and 3, you just put them together to make 6.
You're right. So if we compared 3 and 3, we'd say they're the same, right? So can y'all think of anything? Can you think of anything, Lucas, that you have compared, that you've looked at? Am I the same or different? What are two things you could compare?
You can if you're looking at a design.
At a playground. So you could compare maybe this playground to like another neighborhood playground. What's the same about this playground and what's different about this playground, right?
The other playground
Uh-huh.
over there.
Yeah, and so some things might be the same, some things might be different. Can you think of anything else you might compare? Leah, can you think of anything you might compare? No, be thinking, okay. Lucas, did you think of something you might compare? What?
Food, because I love to eat.
I love to eat too. So you're right, you might compare food. You might say like, we have 2 pizzas. Which pizza's bigger? Which pizza's smaller? You might compare
I
them.
have one.
I'll eat the pepperoni one.
I
My
do
favorite
love
thing.
You like pizza?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll eat all the pepperoni ones because I love to eat.
Okay, so guys, look at me. We are going to read this book, Big, Bigger, Biggest. Okay? And in this story, it's a story about 2 kids and a dad, and they are blowing up balloons and they're comparing their balloons with each other. Okay? So, think of those words. Y'all are going to learn some of this in math too. Big, bigger, biggest. Those words are comparing things. It's telling us.
I have a type of shell.
Tomorrow,
We'll talk about our show
bring
later.
my whole library.
Okay. So look, I want to show you on this page. Look, on this page, he's blowing up a balloon. And then he says, my balloon is big. Do you see his balloon is big? Okay. Then on the next page, our next character is Joe. And look, she blows up the balloon too. And look, her balloon is bigger than his.
I cannot wait for
No, guess what?
Oh, what do you think about the daddies? Okay, and then Dad blows up a balloon, and his balloon is biggest. Then there's something I can't wait for y'all to see.
What?
Watch. What happened to Daddy's balloon? Is it still biggest?
No.
No, so now when we compare it, it's smallest,
So
right?
the sister got it.
Mm-hmm. You're right, so you just compared. Very good, very good.
That was so funny.
Okay, so I want us to think about that word bigger. Like these 3 words are kind of the same. They have the same beginning word, big, bigger, biggest. So when we think of the word bigger, bigger, what sound do you hear at the end of that word? This is kind of hard. The end of the word. Can you know bigger, bigger?
I have one.
What sound is at the end of the word, Jack?
R.
The sound is right? So do you think bigger is going to look the same or different than the word big?
Bigger.
Is it going to look the same or different? What do you think, Lucas?
Different. And I'm
Different.
thinking about food.
I have some.
Uh-huh.
Big food. I like.
Just do big to make it to say big. To do bigger, you say you do ER, and to say big.
Turn to page 4. Oh, you're already going. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Tristan, you're right. So go to page 4. Actually, page 5, sorry. Go to page 5. Did you find page 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want us to see if we can find the word bigger. You said that it's going to end with an R. Oh, my God.
It's right here. It's right here.
You're right. Now watch, I'm going to teach you something. Everyone take your fingers like this. Put them up next to each other. Then we're going to frame the word. Put your fingers around the word. Now we're going to look. Does it look like we expect bigger? It had that R sound at the end? Yeah. Let's read it. Let's run our finger under it. bigger.
Bigger.
Bigger. Good job. Now, Tristan already knew what I was going to say. Let's think about the word biggest. That's kind of complicated, but what sounds do we think are at the end of that word? What sounds do we hear at the end of biggest? We're not looking yet. Tell me what sounds you hear at the end of biggest.
E-S.
I do hear E and an S. You're right. Any other letters you hear? Perfect.
T.
What do you think? T. Yes. So now let's go to page 7. Make your frame again, and let's see if we can find the word biggest.
Eating all the food in the world.
Let's go and frame the word biggest. Frame the word. Oh, you got it, Tristan. Leah, everyone. Jack got it. Lucas, can you frame the word biggest? Oh, is that how we frame a word?
I did like this.
Leah got it. Awesome. Does
chew on
it?
that
Do we
thing
have the
so
EST at the end? Does it have what we expect in
Yes,
EST?
E-S-S-T.
It is biggest. Let's run our finger under it and read it. Biggest. Biggest. Okay. So now, guys, in just a minute, look at my face so you know what you're doing. In just a minute, we're going to start reading this book. And while you're reading it, I want you to be thinking about comparing the balloons and whose balloon is big, whose is bigger, and whose is biggest. So start at the beginning. And I want you to read aloud.
Bigger.
So I can hear you. Yeah, I want you to read for me first. So will you start reading this page for me? Good job. Yeah, keep reading. Keep reading.
My balloon was bigger. A balloon.
Nose balloon bigger.
Dad blows
Up
up a balloon. The biggest. Oh, this one has the biggest.
balloon. Dad's balloon is bigger. No. Dad. Not. No. Balloon blows up a balloon.
Now, when you finish, go back to the beginning of the book and read again, Lucas.
My balloon is
To the beginning.
the biggest. No.
Hey, your thing's still moving. This is the book.
Okay, so what do, Lucas? You go back to the beginning and you keep reading.
No.
Not really.
Okay, good job. Everyone finished. Now let's close our books. Okay, everyone look at my face so you hear what I'm going to say. You are going to talk to your partner, and you are going to, with your partner, decide whose balloon was biggest, whose balloon was bigger, whose balloon was smaller, and then you're going to tell me in a minute. So Lucas and Leah, you two talk a minute. Jack and Tristan, you two talk a minute. Decide.
I think the balloon is bigger.
Whose balloon is that?
You point at you. His balloon was smallest.
So let's look in the story. Leah, can you help us look in the story? Whose balloon?
Is bigger?
This one, I'll eat it.
Whose is that?
Dad, I'll eat it. Yeah, this one.
Okay. Oh, Lucas, remember, we don't put books in our mouth. Okay. So what did you guys think? I heard you two talking, Tristan and Jack. What did y'all decide about comparing those balloons?
This one is smaller, and this one is medium, and this one is bigger.
Oh, that's some good
And
comparing.
then if something gets too big, if it's a balloon gets too big.
And you guys, what did y'all think? What happened at the end of the book?
My sister,
Dad's pop.
The dad's popped. So it was
and they were not
biggest, right?
Yeah.
And then after it popped, it was
It was small.
smallest, right? Very good. Now, when I was listening to y'all read, I saw Lucas do something that I thought was so great. And this is what good readers do. Can everyone pay attention a minute to see what Lucas did? He was reading. He said, Joe blows, and he got to the word up, and it was a little tricky, but he figured it out, up. But then he kind of got off a little bit on what he was reading, and he realized to understand what he was reading, he needed to go back to the beginning and reread it all together. So when he got a little confused, he went back and then he read it
Yeah, I
again.
heard,
Joe blows up a balloon.
Yeah, I heard when Jameson said you just start on the very beginning, so that's what I did.
But remember, good readers, if you get tripped up in what you're doing, you go back to the beginning and you reread. And there's something else that good readers do. You guys have something in here called a word wall. Who can point to the word wall for me? Awesome.
I want to eat it because
Sometimes we use the word wall to help us find words. There is a word, everyone turn to page 2.
Let me see.
Can you find a word on page, that's okay. Can you find a word on the word wall that's on page 2? Point to it. Let's frame it with our fingers once we find it. Lucas, can you find a word that's on there? Tristan found it, I think. Frame it.
food.
No.
Lucas, what is a word that's on the word wall that's on page 2?
I.
Everyone frame I. Do we have it?
And this.
Oh, Leah found 2. Okay, I'm going to challenge you. Can you find another word? We found I is on the word wall. Is there another word on the word wall? On page 2 still. Oh, maybe Tristan's finding it.
Yeah.
That is somewhere, but it's not on page 2. Let's look at page 2. I blow up a balloon.
A.
Hey,
I'll
good job,
eat
everyone. Let's frame A. Okay, frame it. Oh, good. Lucas got it. Jack, can you frame on page 2? Tristan, can you frame A on page 2?
Hard to eat the frame.
Yeah, frame it. Perfect. Good job.
It's not eating
Now I
the
want us to do
frame.
one more thing together. I want everyone to turn to page 8, the very, very end.
Okay, the popping page.
Yes, the popping page. That's why we're going to. It's exciting.
No, it's not.
And there is a special punctuation mark we have at the end here. It's called an exclamation point. And whenever that is on a sentence, we read it really excited. So we're not going to say, no, it's not. That's not exciting. We're going to say, no, it's not. So I want y'all to practice reading it with me with excitement. We're going to read it like, right. So let's everyone get together with your finger and we're going to read it really excited. No, it's not. Oh, that was really good. Let's do it one more time. Lucas, point with your finger and let's go along. Y'all ready?
No, it's not.
That's how good readers read a sentence that have an exclamation mark. Good job, readers. Thank you.
Banana.
Awesome.